evening. Good evening. Hi, Al. Oh, can't get my words out, Monique. What's going on?
You had no problem before we went live. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
It's good to be back.
We're just waiting for people to come on.
Absolutely. Just so let us know, guys, if you're there. Let us know. Say hello. Say hi. Please share as well. Be great to.
Lou Cook is here. Hi, Lou.
Oh, hi, Lou. Great to see you. Who else is brave enough to come and say hi?
Yeah, and great. There's
so we got Pat. Hello, Pat and Tina.
Patricia. Hi, Patricia.
And Julie. Hi, Julie.
Good evening.
Awesome.
Wonderful. And they're rolling in.
That's
great. We've been having a bit of technical difficulty this morning, and seems to have straightened out so far, and we're going to cross our fingers throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Lucy, and hi, Alison. People are coming on freaking fast. That's brilliant.
Yeah, wonderful.
So yeah, we've had a few technical difficulties, so we're keeping everything crossed.
Yeah.
That tonight's show is going to work. If not, it's going to be messages tonight, Monique. Mm-hmm. So that'll be really interesting to see us work.
Yes.
And yes. So come on, Monique. Who's our guest this week?
Okay. Well, if anybody's seen the advertising, they must be excited because we have Micky Havelock today. And she's a spiritualist medium and an intuitive coach. And she's worked for many years with her mediumship in public demonstrations and private readings. She's also a teacher and a coach. And she has written a book. The book is about all of that, including a near-death experience that she had, which is always fascinating to hear about these experiences, where her heart stopped and she went to the other side, and fortunately for us, came back again. So she's going to talk about that. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So
okay, let's try it. Should we try and get Micky in straight away?
Try to let her in. Cross our fingers.
Okay, fingers crossed, everyone. This is going to work. Hi, Micky.
Hello, Micky.
Fingers crossed. Is this better?
That's pretty good. The only thing is I'd probably turn up the volume a little bit. That's the only thing. So guys, for those of you at home, we were trying a different platform and it went horribly wrong. So this is the last go. So hopefully this will work.
So the volume is up as high as it'll go.
Oh, perfect.
That's much better. That's wonderful, Micky.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for being on tonight. We really appreciate it. And we first come across you on, I personally came across you on We Don't Die Radio, where you did an interview with a lady on there. And if anybody's listening, it's also worth having a listen to that interview as well. But we always ask on the Spiritual Talk where your journey began, really, because we kind of, yes, you're a medium and you've done some wonderful things, but we kind of want to know a little bit about you as the person as well, how you came into mediumship.
So I think I've always experienced it as a child, although I never really understood it. I think I was always told as a child, it's just your imagination, and what you're experiencing when you go to bed at night is just because you're halfway between asleep and awake, and you've started to dream, but you're still a bit conscious. And I think it was because in a lot of ways my mum didn't know how else to explain it or how to explain it enough to make her feel comfortable. My grandmother had a lot of experiences and was a medium really herself, but she had some bad experiences. And I don't mean bad as in bad energies or anything, but one of them was she was reading tea leaves for her friend, and she saw a train crash, and she thought, well, I know my best friend isn't going anywhere on a train, so I won't say anything. That's got to be wrong. And what she didn't realize is that her friend was secretly going to London for an interview, and she got on that train, and that train crashed, and her friend died. And it was experiences like that made her turn her back on it and say no. So she'd already sort of said to my mum, watch her, because she's got it, but try and discourage it, because she was frightened of what that would bring for me. So as much as I was told it's your imagination, there's something innately inside me that knew that wasn't right, that it was something much more. And I never really needed that much of an explanation when I was a kid. You just accept these things, really, don't you? But
Yeah.
I used to hear the footsteps coming up the stairs, and then I hear them come to my door, and then they'd come into and I'd see the faces floating around my room. I'd lie in bed and I'd turn and face the wall and kind of talk to myself, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, and think, if I just go to sleep, they'll go away. And then it wasn't really, obviously you reach that age and life takes over, doesn't it? You're a teenager and you start to experience relationships and friends and social life, and you kind of get on with things, and it kind of quietened down a bit. And then it started to kind of raise itself up again. And it's when I had my first child, when I had my son, that's when it really started to step up a notch to sort of remind me, yeah, we're still here and we're still waiting. So I started to explore, really, and I started to investigate it and start to try and understand what I was experiencing. Yeah. So kind of really where it began for me. And then I just it was there on and off, and I very much investigated it in between being full-time mum and, part-time job and my husband, etc. And then after, I'm going to say really, when my husband became ill, I stepped back from everything because he was my priority. And I really cared for him and a full-time carer for the last 18 months of his life, really. And then obviously he passed, and it was comforting to have the signs from him that he was still very much around, some experiences that we had. I remember one of them, my children were sat, I say children, they were like teenagers by then and young adults. And they were sat on the sofa, and I remember the banging on the wall behind them. And we all just kind of looked at each other. And then my daughter's phone lit up with an unknown number. And when she answered it, there was no one there.
Oh,
and
wow.
It happened again immediately afterwards, 3 bangs on the wall behind her. And then her phone would light up. And again, it was an unknown number and no one was there. And so we had a lot of experiences to let us know that he was very much around, which is comforting. It doesn't take away by any means the physical loss, that the loss of not having that physical presence in your life, that one-to-one conversation, that being able to have that support or just chat over your day. You get a lot of people that go, yeah, well, with all your beliefs, this will be an easy ride for you. And you're like, you have no idea.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's really where it began for me.
First of all, obviously, condolences for the loss of your partner, your husband.
Yes.
It must have been a very difficult time as well, and to be a medium as well, it's almost doubly so. And that sounds like a strange thing to say, but there's almost an expectation of instant connection with your partner. Yeah. For some people, that always isn't the case, is it? Or they have funny ideas about that in terms of how we connect or how we contact and communicate.
Of course. And it's funny, there was me being me, I was like, I remember the day of his funeral and kind of petulantly standing in the garden and having a chat with him and saying, right, I've done the funeral exactly how you wanted it. Everything's done. And I need you to give me a sign to let me know that you're happy with it. And it's like me being demanding. And I told him what I wanted. And I said, I'm going to tell you what I want. And I want the sign of a dove. Don't care how you bring it to me. I just want the sign of a dove. And I remember going through the day. Obviously, it was very hard emotionally. And I never got my dove. And I remember at night going to bed and thinking, oh, my gosh, I never got my dove. Were you not happy with the way things went? And I said, okay, you know what? It's been a busy day. You've probably been busy. It's okay. I'll wait. You can give me the dove, tomorrow. Anyway, 2 weeks went past and I got up one morning and I had all the anger of grief. And again, that petulant side of me just came downstairs and was slamming the doors and getting the coffee out to make my kettle. And I'm having a chat with him and I'm saying, you never gave me the sign. You never brought me the dove. And I was waiting for the dove. And anyway, my phone rang. And again, I'm saying to myself, who's phoning at this time in the morning on a Sunday of all days? And I answered the phone and it was a friend of his. And he said, listen, I've been meaning to phone you, but something keeps stopping me because I'm not sure how to say it to you. But then this morning I got woken up and I can't explain it. But all I can think about is that I have to phone you and I have to tell you that there were so many people at the funeral. So many of them were outside. And he was one of them. And he said, as I was stood outside, as you stood up with the children to talk, a beautiful white dove flew around the crematorium 3 times and then went and sat in the garden of remembrance and then took off.
Oh, wow.
And he's a bird expert. And he said to me, Micky, I've got to tell you, it's the wrong time of year for a dove to be there.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I told him exactly sort of like, you know, and of course, I just showed that being petulant and demanding of my husband, he was going to deliver.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
How wonderful is that?
Yeah.
And I think this could happen to anyone if they're actually open to it. Don't you think, Micky?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we're open and we're able to accept, we can put it out there. As long as we're prepared to not try and control it and let it go, it will come to us when it's ready. And you know that it's from them because it has so much meaning behind it and it really affects you from within. It's like the core of your soul resonates with it and there's no mistaking it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Great.
Lovely.
Before we go any further, I was just going to say to people, we do run a competition, guys, and if you want to be considered for that competition for a free reading, don't forget to like and you must share as well. That'll be really great. So keep the shares going and keep the likes going. That'd be fantastic. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Carry on, Monique.
Yeah, so, well, I was just going to ask, moving forward, there was an experience that you had where, and I know you're going to talk about that, and we're anxiously waiting for that, where you actually did see your husband again. Yeah.
I was, it was about 4 years after my husband had died, and I obviously all my attention had gone on to my children and just trying to get them through the experience. And I was experiencing a lot of heartburn, indigestion, as I believed it to be, as my doctors believed it to be. And then this one night, I was in so much pain. Yeah. And I just couldn't get away from the pain. And cut a long story short, by the morning, I'd called an ambulance. And the paramedics had come out, checked me all over and said, well, it's not your heart. Could you just walk out to the ambulance? And I was like, yeah, sure. And went out to the ambulance with my daughter and they rigged me up to all the machines. And they were like, well, it's definitely not your heart. We don't know what's going on. Shot me full of morphine and took me in as a precaution. So I was all set up in A&E there and rigged up to the big monitors, and the doctor came along and she looked at the monitors. She said, well, it's definitely not your heart. We don't really know what's going on, but we think we're going to go and arrange an emergency camera down the throat to see what's going on because we think maybe you might have a burst ulcer or something. And I remember saying to her, I don't care what you do. I just need you to stop this pain. And as she walked away, I said to my daughter, I feel really lightheaded and I think I've got to give you a heads up. I think I'm going to pass out. And she walked around my bed to go and get me some water. And when she started to come back round, she said, as I look back down at you, Mum, your eyes had rolled into the back of your head. You'd completely got into a seizure. Your whole body was seizing. I'd bitten through my tongue, so that wasn't pretty. And then she said everything just flatlined. All the machines just stopped and you just went still. So you've got medical staff pulling me off in one direction and starting CPR. You've got medical staff pulling her off in another direction. And it was all very distressing for her. For me, whole nother story. And literally in the same breath of me saying to her, I've got to give you the heads up, I think I'm going to pass out, I turned over in the bed, and my husband was stood the other side of the bed. And I was just so damn excited to see him. I literally leapt off the bed and just threw myself into him and was just hugging him and breathing him in and just so engrossed in him being there. And I remember just feeling his solid body and being able to just really hug him as he hugged me back and being just so excited. And he was like, I've got so much to show you. Let's go. And I didn't even think twice about it. There was nothing about me that thought, oh no, I've died. Or, oh no, what am I leaving behind? I was just gone. It was just fabulous. I was not in any pain. All the pain was gone. I felt young and vibrant. I felt energetic and just consumed with this overwhelming sense of love that was just so pure and so electrifying that it literally just seemed to absorb into every cell of my being. And we were just gone. And it wasn't like a journey. It wasn't going down a white tunnel or anything like that. It literally was suddenly we were in this beautiful field. And the most vibrant colors, just the freedom of it, the sense of peace. And I just remember running through this field with so much energy that I was like almost like a child again, just running. And I could hear my husband laughing. And as much as he was laughing, it was like ricocheting all the way through me. Like I was feeling his laugh, not just hearing it. And as I got to, there was like a river. And as I got to it, I realized he was still the other side of the field. He wasn't even beside me. And yet I could hear him as if he was right there beside me. And I remember beckoning him over. And it was that whole thing of when he's talking to me, his mouth's not moving. But I can hear what he's saying. It was and I keep saying, I think throughout my book, it's the most surreal thing, because there's a part of you that just feels this is so familiar and I feel home. And there's another part of you that just feels this is all new and exciting and wow, what's going on? So it really is kind of like the two sides of it. I know at the river we experienced the water. As the water was flowing, it seemed to have its own energy. And I remember dipping my hand into it. And as I literally dipped my hand into it, it was like the water came up to meet me, and the water started to explore my hand as much as my hand was exploring the water, if that makes sense. And it was like we were exploring each other. The water had its own energy, it had its own pulse, it had its own life force. And you could almost feel its heartbeat. You could feel its energy. And as it swirled around my hand, my husband dipped his hand down and around mine. And as suddenly there were now two hands, the water changed and took on a different way and sort of wrapped itself around us even more different. And he was just like, look how you can alter things just with your own energy and how things change. Energy affects energy. Everything affects everything. And I remember getting sad. I remember getting sad and my tears kind of falling into the river, and him saying, you've just affected that river and you've just made an impact on it. And I was sad for the journey that it had been through, because as I was feeling it, I was aware of its journey. I was aware of its journey as it had come over boulders and come around nooks and made its way out of a spring and all that. I was aware of all of it. And it was just like it was telling me its life story and its struggles to get to where it was today. And I was sad for it. but at the same time understanding that that's life. We all experience life like that, right? We all go through our struggles. We all go through our hardships and our boulders and our rocks and our difficulties to get through. And I mean, from there, we just ended up lying there looking at the sky, and the sky was, as I laughed, the sky would just change all its colors. And again, it's that watch how you affect everything. We affect everything. Our energy is so interconnected that we all affect everything. And it was like, I've always kind of known that or believed that, but now I was seeing it for myself and really knowing how much we affect everything with our energy. I think from there I know we went to my grandparents' old flat, where I spent a lot of my childhood, and they're like 9 floors up, and it's this beautiful flat, and getting to the door and just knowing the door as soon as I saw the door. Again, no journey, just my husband saying to me, hey, I've got something else to show you. And suddenly we're in front of this front door. The scenery just changed, and we're in front of this front door. And I just recognized straight away. I knew the door. I knew the familiarity of that door. I knew the smell of that hallway. And stepping in and just experiencing exactly how my grandparents' flat was. It was a whole experience of meeting almost myself, my inner self, my inner child, my innocent soul, I suppose. And then there were all my grandparents, waiting for me in the lounge. And each one of them then took me on a journey to experience what they choose to do, the other side, part of what they choose to do. I think there's much more than what they just showed me. And it was fascinating. My one grandfather, who, by the way, had died before I was born, and yet I instantly knew him. He took me to the halls of learning because he was spending plenty of time in the halls of learning. And I found that fascinating because it was just like a massive library, and there was just books of knowledge everywhere. Now, I'm somebody who loves my books anyway, but seeing all these books and just thinking, oh, all the knowledge that they must have inside them, and then him showing me, actually, as you get used to it, you don't need the books. Because as you looked around, there were some people that were sat engrossed in the book. There were others that were just sat like in meditation almost. And as the books all disappeared, I got bombarded with all this information, which was almost overwhelming for how much knowledge was just coming at me from all directions. And then as my grandfather was explaining, the more time you spend, the more you become used to that. So you don't need the book anymore. You don't need to hold something and take your time with it. You can just absorb the information as it's there. And it's that connection. It's that we are connected to absolutely everything. And I think that's so fascinating. Even now, with the restrictions of our physical body, we are connected to all that is and all the energy. I mean, even all of us now, we're all connected. Our energy is affecting each other just through a conversation. But we are affecting everything around us.
And we probably don't have, most of us anyway, any idea of how very much that is so. Yeah. And, the fact that you went to the other side and were shown this and experienced it and their way of teaching you this, because it really is hard to wrap your mind around that concept, and they actually allowed you to experience it. So there is a deep knowing within of how that actually works. So that was wonderful.
Yeah. And I think Yeah, and I think, I mean, there was plenty of experiences that I had with each grandparent. I mean, my other grandparent took me to, she was a bit, how can I put it? Didn't say what she meant and didn't sort of filter it too much, which could cause some injury to some people emotionally, be emotionally wounding. But she was very much part of a group that was dealing with negativity. And when I say negativity, I mean those negative thoughts, the depression, the sadness. That's the side of things that she was showing me. And I realized I'm suddenly getting very dark. And from that side of things, and just how there was a whole group of them that beautifully just pushed back with love and just sent love back in the direction of those that are suffering sadness, depression, or anxiety. And I remember as I stepped closer, feeling like I was being stabbed with 1,000 daggers, because being in that pure love, to feel that sadness is so deep. You feel it on such a deep level. And yet they had that beautiful power and ability to just be able to absorb it and send it back with love. And I think, how many times do we experience in this life where somebody hurts us and we feel hurt to the core from words that are said or acts that are done? And we can react and knee-jerk react in the same way. But actually, if we stop and take a breath and push back with love, the difference that can make.
Yeah. That old saying, kill them with kindness.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Kind of not the same, but the same. But yeah.
But again, it's remembering, isn't it, that everything affects everything. So, the way we react to the way somebody is behaving towards us is going to have an effect.
So many questions I would love to ask you. Okay, I'm so sorry. I know we've got to ask the audience to get them to ask you questions as well. But the actual experience in itself, does it become less as time goes on, or do you remember it really vividly?
Really vividly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to. Like sometimes you have a dream, and then when you wake up, it's really vivid, and then it kind of fades out, doesn't it? And then. Or you get up and you think, oh my God, that was amazing. And then 2 minutes later, you're like, oh, what was it? Where did it go? I can't remember any of it. This was like it happened yesterday, because when I talk about it, I'm back there. I can feel it. I am almost reliving it every time and experiencing it again, because of the way my soul resonates with it, and the way I can't describe it to you. I wish you could see inside my body. Probably not a pretty sight, but just all my cells just resonating with the memory of it, and just remembering that experience.
We can see it in your face as you speak.
It's just feeling so at home, just so at home.
And I've heard other people talk about near death. They say that their experience is actually far more vivid and real than when they come back to this dimension, shall we say, this world. It feels so incredibly real and profound. Did you find that?
Yeah, I did. And it took me a while, if I'm honest, because to begin with, when I first came back, it was, I really kind of had a battle going on within me that I kept quiet for a long time. Because, here's the thing, you're back. So I've been resuscitated, and I've got a doctor literally shouting in my face and telling me that they're rushing me down to theatre for an emergency procedure to keep me alive. And I'm looking at him thinking, my God, you're dramatic. And he's running me out and wheeling me past family going, you've got no time to say hello. We're just going to keep going. And then the next thing saying to me, shouting at me, going, don't move, I'm in your heart. And just lying there thinking, what are you doing in there? Get out. And these are the thoughts going through my head, thinking, this is surreal. What's going on? Yeah. I want to go back. I just want to shut my eyes. If I could just go back, I'd just go back. And seeing the fear in my family's faces was very hard. So I suppressed a lot of what I'd gone through because I felt guilty, because there was a huge part of me that wanted to be back with my husband and wanted to be back home. And yet I felt guilty for feeling that, because why wouldn't I want to be back here with my kids and my parents, you know, and the friends I love? Why wouldn't I? So this double battle begins, because it's that you're fighting with inside yourself, really, of the things that you're feeling, not voicing them because you feel so guilty about the way you feel. And then it's, you know, the chapter in the book is called The Battle Within. And it brought me to my knees. It brought me to a place where I literally had a breakdown. And I shut off from the spirit world. I was so angry with them. I felt rejected. I was feeling homesick. I was grieving my husband all over again. And I remember thinking, you know, in those lonely nights at night when you're on your own in the hospital, just speaking to the spirit world and saying, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing your donkey work anymore. The door's shut. You didn't want me. You kicked me back. I'm obviously not good enough today. So that's it. We're done. And I threw myself into a very physical world, which really didn't serve me in the long run. And as I had that breakdown and the doctors intervened, I remember the doctor saying, you know, about antidepressants and counselling. Now, I'm not saying that they don't work. They work. But something inside me when they said that triggered. For me, it was a trigger. And something went off inside me. And this, I suppose the deepest part of my soul just came to the surface and was like, no, I'm going to do this by myself. And that whole memory of, you know, we affect everything. And so I've now got to work on myself, because if this is going to change and I'm going to change, then it has to come from within. And that's really where I started to take the focus within and really start to learn about myself, work on myself, go back over the experiences that I'd had to learn the lessons that each experience showed me, which I didn't realize then, but realize now from this, you know, from this period of my life. And I remember leaving the doctors and sitting there and saying, and opening up to the spirit world and saying, okay, I need you. I can't do this without you. And just this wonderful calm that just came over me. And this beautiful soft voice that just said, we've been waiting for you. And that was it. I knew then that it was the journey back to getting back on my feet, really.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, there's also, we should mention also, guys, we should also put the banner up for questions as well, people, if you'd like to. Here we go. Helen's just put a banner up. I'm just going to put this up on screen, share the screen. So we're going to kind of get shifted over here, Micky. I'm not deleting you off, but I want to show people your book, Dying to See You. And it's got a really good rating on Amazon as well. So, guys, good read.
And this is where, Micky, I'm presuming you talk a lot about the experience and what you've learned through your experience, all the various experiences, which would be a very interesting read. Yeah.
I mean, the book isn't a massive book. It's only about 100 pages. And it's not a massive book. And it's interesting because when I wrote it, I remember thinking, well, this can't be a book because it's not big enough. And it's my husband, really, who could never read a book if it was too long. He could only read it if it was a short, because his attention span would only take it for a short, you know. And I remember having him very much with me and sort of saying, listen, Micky, think about the people that need to be helped, that can't sit and read a lengthy book, but need that guidance. And needs to know as well that, here's the thing, one of the biggest impacts for me was what my physical body went through at that point of death. I even had the guy who was in the bed opposite me as I was leaving the hospital. He was in the lobby of the hospital, him and his wife. and he approached me and said, I just need to say, I can't believe you're walking out of here. What we witnessed that day was so horrific. I never thought I would see you walk out of here.
Wow.
So what my physical body went through and endured, I was unaware of any of it. Now, I find that incredibly comforting to know that loved ones that I've sat beside that have passed, and I've been so distressed at thinking that they're so distressed that they're not aware of any of that, and that they've already left the physical body, really. So I found a lot of comfort in that.
Yes. And interesting that, what I took note to when you were talking about seeing your husband and wrapping your arms around him, I thought, well, that sounds physical to me. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It was actually physical on the other realm. You could feel him.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is as real as we are, and it is as solid as we are. The embraces, the touching, the connection, even standing on my grandparents' balcony is as real, as solid as it always has been.
Wow. And then I wanted to ask the question, we're going to let our audience ask questions, obviously, but I've been thinking about this ever since I researched what had happened to you. And I'd love you to talk about this to our audience in regards to no time, no space on the other dimension. And yet you come back here and we're living a linear life here. We're living in time. So I wanted to ask your opinion based on your experience. Why would that be? Why would that be?
I honestly don't know why, is my honest answer. I don't know why. Okay. I think we give ourselves that time to restrict on time. And I think it's that, isn't it? Yeah. Have you ever been so engrossed in something that you have no concept of time, and suddenly 2 hours has gone past and you're like, oh, where did that 2 hours go? That it's no different. It's just that they're, because there you don't have all those distractions. You're just so focused on what is there, that moment in time, that whatever's in front of you, who's in front of you, that thought of what's coming from here and being beside your loved one. Your focus is there. You're not distracted with, oh, wow, it's 7 o'clock. I've got to sit down and watch some soap on TV, or, and I've got to be at work by 9. And if you don't mind, we've got to be in the halls of learning by 6. It doesn't happen,
Yeah.
So you're so focused, and it's literally, as we're talking about it now, that's what's coming to me, is that's how it felt. That I'm just focused on what's happening in front of me with no thought outside of that. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. And I never thought of it in that way. That makes absolute sense. Yeah. Amazing. So we are actually creating linear time as we move forward in our lives here. So, and on the other side, you're living in the present moment, which is why, because I do know you probably felt that you were there for quite some time, and yet coming back here, that there wasn't that amount of time that you were gone, really.
Absolutely.
So it's quite interesting how that works, isn't it?
Did they actually say, sorry, Micky, did they actually say to you how long you was gone for?
Do you know, I've been asked that so many times, Paul, and I've never looked into it and asked the question. I could easily find out how long I was, and I don't want to know.
Because I think, sorry. Yeah, I think you said that your parents had been at the hospital when you kind of come round, but obviously for them to get to the journey to the hospital must have taken some time as well. Yeah. So it's amazing.
Yeah. So
we've got some questions coming in as well that we want to throw at you as well, because honestly, time's going so quickly; it's unbelievable. How did your intuitiveness manifest itself? What did you feel, and how did you learn to interpret it? That's from Carol Phillips.
Okay, so how did your intuitiveness manifest itself? I guess the way I'm looking at that question is, our intuition is there. It's an innate ability within all of us. We all have that intuition. It is our sixth sense, and we just don't talk about it. You know, we teach kids from an early age that everyone's got 5 senses. If we taught kids that they have 6 senses, everybody would be so much more intuitive than we are, because it's such a natural, that intuition, because again, it's energy that's connected to all that is. So if it is connected to all that is, then it is intuitive and knows everything within everything, if you just allow that thought to come. But we, as human beings, love to have that element of control on everything, and therefore we try and control it, and we allow society to shut it down with, you know, oh, it's just your imagination, or it's just this, it's just that. So
Yeah.
you know, and I think I guess I would say that my intuition is stronger now, because after an experience like that, it's gone from believing to knowing without any shadow of a doubt of that connection. So, and I think that's the best way to explain it, really.
Yeah.
Very good.
That.
So, can you see that, Monique?
This question's from Ed.
Yeah.
And he asked, did you share your experience with any of the medics who treated you at the time, and how did they react?
No, and if I'm honest with you, I didn't really I didn't share my experience with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was so guilty and afraid to speak about it or to voice it to my kids, because how could I not talk about it without letting them know that I wanted to be back there?
Oh,
you know, so I kind of suppressed it, which didn't do me any good at all. And then when I started to work on myself to get myself back on track, I wrote it all down. That's when I started to write the book and really write it all down. And I didn't want to talk to anybody about it until I'd finished writing the book, because I didn't want anyone else to influence it. I didn't want anyone else's opinion. I didn't want anyone else to go, oh, well, when you experienced that, it would have mean this, this, this. No, this was my experience, and I was very protective of it. And I said, once I've got it written down, I'll happily talk to anybody about it. But until I've got it written down, I don't want anyone else's opinion. I don't want anyone else to influence the way I feel about it or think about it. It's mine.
Yes, understandable.
But to process that experience, even if you wasn't a medium, on a logical sense, it must have taken quite some time for you.
Yes, it did. And the thing is, this is what I'm saying. Although I was working on myself, it took time to really work through all those lessons and to really absorb them and to really make the changes in my life to allow what I've learned to have a better influence on my life, if you like.
Yeah. And hence the subject of time again, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. And I use terms these are the terms that I've used for similar experiences: spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul, all of these experiences you would have gone through, do you think, or was it quite different?
Say that again.
Well, you were already a medium when it happened.
Yeah.
But I think there are some people that when they go through such an experience, I would say that spirit actually supports and helps with that process of digesting the information, letting go of your own perspective on reality in order to gain a new one, and that can be very painful to go through that process.
Yes.
And I can imagine you wouldn't want to go on any drugs to go through it either.
No, and it was incredibly painful, and like I said, it really did bring me to my knees. And I almost felt paralyzed by it, when I really got to the worst part of it all. But then as I started to work my way through it, it was knowing that by opening up and having that connection again with spirit, allowing that connection back in, instead of shutting myself off to the connection of all that is, to then going over those experiences and the lessons and understanding the lessons. And it's not about picking apart the journey, but it's almost immersing yourself back into that journey to understand what it was teaching you. Now, I now can sit here and say, I feel I had to go through those experiences and I had to reach the bottom to really dig deep, to really go within and to really learn and understand about my soul, to understand how to rebuild. Now, if it wasn't for that, if I'd come back and it was all, wow, that was amazing, and what would I really have learned from it? You know?
Good point. Yeah.
So I kind of look back now and go, I can see how the journey had to take place the way it did. I mean, it was crappy at the time, but I understand it now.
And probably feel quite blessed as a result that it happened. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got a great question from Yvonne. I need to put my glasses on. Hold on. When you came back, did you find that any fears and anxieties you ever had before had left you? That you've become stronger and more alive with your energy?
Yes, I can honestly say yes. I definitely feel stronger and more alive with my energy, and less caring about what other people think, or oh, how am I going to come across on this, or how am I going to look with this, or how I don't care anymore. I don't mean that fervently, but I've learned to, you know, my soul is going through its journey and it's my journey. It doesn't, you know, nobody else's opinion is going to alter that or change that unless I allow it to. And fears and anxieties, slowly over the time, I started to learn how to embrace those fears and see them as challenges to embrace and step through rather than something to run away from.
I mean, such a profound experience, Micky. Challenges your every part of your being in some respects, in terms of when we talk about, you know, how energy reacted to, because it's the same principle here as mediums. We know that like attracts like, and everything being positive, etc., etc. But for you, suddenly having that really reinforced, you know, I can understand why you had that, almost like a reprogramming, I guess. But I mean, my own personal journey, I had a personal experience with a serious operation.
Right.
And that was quite difficult in terms of how I recovered from that. And that changed me and my outlook on life. So, and I found that I was quite almost, you know, trivial things were minutiae. But to have such a profound experience, there's so many things that you had to process. I can't, although I am slightly jealous, I have to say, because I'd love to go to the halls of learning and be conscious of it. You know,
what you for?
No, absolutely. Okay, I'll take that back right now. Yeah, not too early.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah.
But do you find you dream of the experience? Have you ever had anything like that come back into your psyche?
So I don't dream of the experience, but I have found that I've had a few more vivid dreams of being back, you know, with different family members and what have you. And then I've come back out of that dream going, I know I was back there. I know I was back home. And I almost have to resettle myself, because I get that same feeling of that sort of beginning of the battle within, and kind of having to talk to myself to go, it's okay. It's okay. You know, we don't have to go through that again. We can enjoy that experience and know that that was a beautiful experience, but we also have what we need to do in this life now, and for what it's going to learn, you know. And I think all of us are here to learn, to teach, and to experience, and I think the biggest thing we're all here for is to understand ourselves.
Yeah.
More than anything, to understand ourselves, how we operate, how we affect, how everything affects us, how we allow certain things to affect us, and being allowed to sort of get into that, like you were saying, Paul, you get to the point where there's certain things are just minutiae. It's trivial, and you look at people getting so dramatic over things, or everything's such a big deal, and you're looking at it going, really?
Yeah,
that's a big deal. But that before, at some point, it was a big deal for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Road rage being one of those. We suffer with road rage over here, Monique, because our roads are so small.
We have it here too. Don't you worry.
Oh, do you really? Okay. I thought you guys had really big freeways, and there was no. But we have really small roads, and yeah, you see so many people, getting frustrated and angry, and we're less tolerant of each other, which is, to have an experience.
As you start to evolve the way you're talking, Paul, it feels so liberating to recognize that within yourself. When you realize that you're changing enough to be able to see these things, it's very freeing, isn't it, Micky?
Definitely. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does. And I think as well, we're human beings. We still encounter down days. We still have those moments of, I'm exhausted, I'm shattered, whatever it is, or I just, I kind of like to say it gets too peoply out there, and I like to shut the door sometimes and just go, it's too peoply out there. I'm just going to stay in my own little bubble right now. And, but it's just embracing that and allowing that. And it's funny how certain things have happened since that experience where I've had to process some more grieving or sadness, and people have sort of said, oh, don't cry, or don't be upset, or you're spending too much time on your, no, I'm just processing. Oh, don't do that. And you're like, why? It's okay to be sad. If my sadness makes you uncomfortable, then that's not my issue. But it's okay to experience sadness too,
Yes, absolutely. Carol Phillips has another question. How do your children feel about your experience?
Very varied, I'd say. It's very varied across the board. One won't really speak to me about it. I'm not even interested in reading the book or knowing anything. It's almost like, I don't know whether that's a fear base that kind of goes, I don't want to know. One absolutely embraces all of it, talks to me thoroughly about all of it, and it always has done right from the get-go. And one kind of like ventures it when he's in the mood to, and kind of wants to know, and then kind of edges back again. And it's quite fascinating how they're all very different,
Mm-hmm.
So
it's nice to be able to share it.
It's not a Sunday roast dinner topic.
No.
No, but then you've got a tough job of having. Are your children grown up, Micky, or are they teenagers?
No, so my youngest is 23.
Okay.
My youngest is 23. So.
I mean, did they know from an early age that you was a medium? Because I found out with my children, my daughter was quite embarrassed, and to be honest, she didn't actually know until she was, I believe she was over 14. I didn't want to have that impression with them. I didn't want them to have any fear.
No, and it was interesting because again, they were all quite different. And actually it's funny, when they were younger, one of my kids particularly, when they were younger, almost kind of like loved to explore it himself, and very much would sort of ask questions and delve into things, and then just got to a point where shut down over it all and just kind of didn't want to know anymore. And then, like I say, one of them, she's so gifted herself that she has her own experiences and what have you. So,
okay.
Kind of like, one day, Mum, I'll look more into it, but right now, I don't want to know right now. She'll walk down the corridor and go, not tonight, thank you.
Yeah, Jennifer's just made a really good point as well, that, I think your children will come to it when they're ready.
Absolutely.
They'll ask questions.
Absolutely. And that's what's so beautiful. We came to it when we were ready, right?
Yeah.
That's
true. You can't come to it before you're ready.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And right now, I believe, what have you been up to lately, Micky? I know you're doing workshops. At least I understand you're doing workshops. And And of course, you're doing demos, so on. What are you, other than the book?
So I run, at the moment, obviously with COVID the way it was and everything's shutting down, I'm the president of our local church. So I run that. We do some workshops, and I do some workshops with a medium called Mark Stone. So we run some workshops.
Hello, Mark, if he's watching. Hopefully he's watching.
We demonstrate together. So we do demonstrations. What else do? I do my one-to-one readings. I also do a lot of intuitive coaching, which is really about helping people to understand and get to know their inner self and their own workings and their own connections, and to understand how to get the best out of their life moving forward. I teach a personal development group, which has nothing to do with mediumship, by the way, but is literally about learning about self. Let's look at how we deal with things in life, how we deal with the difficulties, how we deal with the hurdles, how we deal with, and how we understand where that connection comes in, and how to navigate our way through all of life's experiences.
And that would in turn enhance mediumship, I'm presuming.
Absolutely, because I think this is one of the biggest things with mediums. You know, as mediums, everybody goes out to the courses, don't they, to learn their mediumship and to enhance their mediumship. But nobody remembers to investigate themselves, because you are spirit. We're all spirit. So we're so busy getting to learn everybody else's spirit loved ones, we forget to learn about our own spirit.
And Jennifer Ann Lynch asks, has this experience increased your psychic and mediumship abilities, the near-death experience?
I think the answer to that has got to be yes, because obviously we evolve, as long as we're working on ourselves, we're always going to be evolving with our mediumship and our psychic abilities. And I think, you know, like I said, it's going from believing to knowing. And when you really know and you just go, you know what, guys, here I am, I'm opening them up, step right in, let's go. Then the control's gone. We're no longer in our head going, oh, it's got to be right, and it's got to be this, and it's got to be that, and I need names, and you must give me this, and you must give me that. You know, I mean, if we were going to have a conversation and I was going to say, Monique, I want to know all about you. Tell me about yourself. I'm not sitting here going to you, hey, Monique, tell me, how tall are you? What colour is your hair? What do you like to do as a hobby? You know, you're just going to start talking to me, right?
Of course.
They're no different.
Yes.
They're just no longer in a physical body. So we're just getting to know people.
True enough. I understand that completely. Yeah. And I remember a moment in time where I come to the epiphany that not just working for spirit, but working with spirit, with the energy as a team. That took a while for me to figure out, but that's an amazing shift right there too.
Yeah,
so,
and it's a big thing, isn't it, for budding mediums to understand that you can't, you know, you have to let it flow rather than kind of go looking for it. And if you have this structured way, I mean, Mr. Ivers, he was on the other week, he was saying the same thing. Allow it to flow and not have that kind of demanding certain evidence, you know. So yeah, Micky, can I just say it's been lovely to hear. Obviously, we are really grateful that your internet held up. We are so great. You've not frozen once, so it's been absolutely amazing. I almost had a slight hernia, a worrying earlier. Oh, you literally come on in the last minute. So thank you very much for persevering with us. And it's such a wonderful story. We're just so pleased that you could share it with our viewers. And
absolutely.
To be honest, I want to ask you millions of questions. but please, guys, don't forget the book on Amazon as well. And it sounds like it's going to be a really good read. Really good read. So, but thank you very much. And it's now time, I guess, for myself and Monique to work. So we're going to say goodbye to you.
Thank you.
It was such a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks ever so much, Micky.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was brilliant.
What a fascinating story.
Yeah, I think
I
I aged
love
about
hearing
20
about
years though, Monique, with the internet signal. Honestly, it was we were so stressed, weren't we, at the beginning? Think, oh no. But thankfully, it all worked out right. Spirit hopefully intervened and helped us with that.
Right
So
for the entire hour.
Yeah. So this is exciting. We're going to work now. So, usual guys, we're going to try and get you in the studio if you understand the link. If not, don't worry. If you can't come in, you can always come in off screen. We're going to share the link so you can see it in the comments. We would obviously like you to love, like, and share. Someone asked earlier, I know it sounds quite sad, but I've got this on my phone at the same time, but the share button should be at the bottom by the comments. Okay, so you've got your obviously little emojis here to like and love, and over here is the share button. Lovely.
And as we do our mediumship and demonstration of spirit portrait art, as we're speaking, feel free to comment, type away, because we will be reading that. Paul will be reading aloud, and I'll be busy drawing, so I'll be listening to his every word and to your words. So also, if you can take any of it, please speak up. But also, if you have a photograph to validate the sketch, that would be amazing for the audience as well to see that validation. So by all means, feel free to do all of this. You can put that photograph of a loved one. If we are connecting to that loved one and you happen to have it on your phone, replace your profile picture with that image. Yeah. And we can call it up and share it with the others if you feel like you'd like to do that. It's totally up to you. So
the only caveat to that though, guys, is only come in if you think it's for you. Don't come in if you're hoping for a reading, because we allow spirit to guide us and where we're going. So it worked pretty well last week, Monique, with that how we worked last week. Very much more relaxed, wasn't it?
Very much.
So did you want to start? Did you want to connect with spirit first?
No, you go ahead. If you do you have somebody? I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any problems linking. So okay, so anything else we need to say? Oh yes, the links are on the side. We might put the one up on the banner as well, so you can cut and paste, guys. Right, so I'm just going to connect with my link that I have here, and I'm going to bring him through. I'll say him. I've kind of given it away already. I've got a gentleman with me.
So do I.
And I know this gentleman is Dad. Okay, and I know this gentleman straight away. We got people jumping in. So before you come in, guys, just see if this is for you. Okay. I know this gentleman is Dad. I know this gentleman is trying to connect not only with a daughter, but a son as well. But I'm not sure if the daughter is daughter-in-law. But we'll just keep going. Do you want to bring anything else in, Monique? Do you want me to keep going?
Well, I am starting to see something. I am starting to see a fellow, and I don't know if you see this, Paul, but I see him in a blazer that's not unlike yours. That's how I'm seeing him at the moment. And one thing that Paul and I have realized is that he may be seeing the same spirit in one era of time, and I'm seeing him in quite another. In other words, he may be seeing somebody with a beard, and when I see him, he didn't have one. So that's what I'm seeing at the moment. So shall we move on? Let's see.
Do you want me to share your screen ready, Monique?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
There you go. You're ready to start working. Okay. So I know this gentleman, I do feel this gentleman, I feel would have been a recent passing as well. He's making me aware that would have been a recent passing into spirit. I also feel this gentleman was ill for some time. I also feel, I'm feeling into October, November for this gentleman's passing. And I keep hearing Dad, and I keep hearing it's Dad. It's Dad. Also, I know this gentleman would have had London connections as well. I also know, this gentleman would have had mobility problems before the end, and there's a real frustration with his mobility. and I do feel there was a stick, but I do feel there was some issues around the walking stick that he didn't want to use it. Okay. Okay, your father passed in October. Hi, Yvonne. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to keep going with this information. Do you understand the walking stick, Yvonne? Do you understand the frustration with this gentleman? More about pride than frustration with his mobility. Okay. I also feel really strongly that the month of April for a birthday links to him as well. Yes, it's my dad. Okay. Yvonne, if you can come in, that would be wonderful. I'm just going to keep going with the information that he's sharing with me. It takes me to April with a birthday. I'm not sure if it's him or someone very close to him. Would you also understand issues with his stomach as well? Do you have anything, Monique?
I'm feeling a sense of humor as I sketch.
Yeah, definitely.
Loving man with a sense of humor.
Okay. Yvonne's just struggling to get the link to work, but not to worry. Yes, he did have a sense of humor. Brilliant. Okay, we're just going to keep going with him. Also, Yvonne, if you recognize the picture, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. So just keep watching the picture as it develops. Okay. So I do feel issues walking. Okay. I know there was issues. There's a problem with the stomach area, but also issues with the heart as well. He's okay. Okay. For some reason, I feel like this is a bit of a medical report this gentleman's given. It must be evidential because he's also making me aware of a problem with his right arm as well. I felt that he lost nose, mouth. Yes, I do. Brilliant. Would you understand the problems with the right arm tingling and loss of mobility with the right arm? He's making me aware of that. Also, okay. Before I go off with this, Monique, did you want to bring in any more information?
Well, I do feel that British connection you're talking about. I don't know. Is it Yvonne? Nose, mouth?
Yes,
I do.
Yvonne, yeah.
All right. And this is indeed a British a lot. Okay, ailments, yes. Is she from the UK somewhere?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Are you from the UK, Yvonne? Scottish. He is, yes.
Because I'm hearing an accent with this man as I sketch him. Okay. And a great deal of love coming towards the recipient of this reading. I'm feeling.
Yes,
him.
absolutely. And it's about the connection with the daughter, the love of his daughter.
That's right.
I know there's others he talks about, but there's also a gruffness with his voice. Would you understand the gruffness? And I also want to try and clear my throat with that as well. So lots of love from this gentleman coming in for you, Yvonne. Okay, it's also making me aware of again. I know I brought in his mobility issues, but would you be aware of the fall that this gentleman had as well? Because he's making me aware of the fall, and I'm very frustrated. He would have been very frustrated with himself.
His latter years, health issues within his latter years. I'm feeling and definitely frustrated with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to just bring in one other thing spinning off the back of this. I know this man would have had so much self-pride in how he carried himself, because that was the frustration that he, I kind of felt he lost his dignity with this a little bit. Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh, yes. Okay, there we go. I even feel a little bit of a depression in the end as a result of his issues, physical issues.
Yeah, the main thing really is, and the main message here really, Yvonne, is how strong he now is. And he's making me very much aware of how strong he is now. And I feel, and I want to say as strong as an ox, I feel he's a real powerful man with like all the ailments have gone, everything is there. And I also need to tell you that he can see. I don't know why he said that, but his eyes are good. His eyes, he can see properly. And I really feel that strongly with what he's saying in terms of his health and well-being. Lovely to hear that. I'm so glad. Absolutely. But I do feel that people are thinking about him in terms of his passing, and because it's quite evidential, a lot of information about his illness towards the end. And I kind of want to not be remembered for that. Yeah. Yeah, his sight was poorly at the end. Thank you for that. And I kind of want to, yeah, that's really the message here: the strength of this man, the strength, and I, yeah, okay. It's kind
I
of.
can actually see the likeness with daughter and father now that I'm looking at it. Isn't that interesting?
Hope you don't mind us saying that, Yvonne. Yeah.
He still had hair, but it was thinning out on the top. Yes, his sight was poorly, she says.
Yeah.
And he is so excited to come through here. I can just feel the excitement.
Yeah. Oh, she doesn't mind. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Oh, good-looking man, if I may say so.
Yeah. But I do feel he's making me aware of family that would have moved south of the border. I can't live with you. Yeah, sorry, I can't get live with you. Yeah, it's a real shame. Maybe another time, Yvonne. Don't worry. I'm used to tech stuff as well. It took me ages to understand how to get used StreamYard. Poor old Helen was pulling her hair out. She's virtually bald now. We're trying to get me to use this tech. So happy, and the photo is lovely. Well, that's brilliant. Okay, I'm good. Would you want to add anything else, Monique? We're going to try and do another one.
It was acknowledged that the sketch does look like her father, I presume. And
yes.
Yvonne, we can, if you do want this sketch, we'd be happy to send it to you. No problem at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just contact us and we'll send that to you.
Yeah. Before we go, though, Micky's still around in the studio. Before we go, we're going to ask Micky to pick a name, guys. So keep letting us know if you want a message, and we will. Micky might pick your name. Who knows? So just keep commenting. That'll be great. Okay. So it was our pleasure, Yvonne. So did you want to connect and do another one, Monique, or what do you want to do?
Sure, if we have time. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Do you have somebody already, Paul, or would you like me to take a minute to connect?
Yeah, you go. You go.
Okay. So just give me a second here.
Such a beautiful drawing.
I am feeling a grandfather coming through. Now, typically I take a few moments to jot down notes so Paul can connect. I'm feeling a grandfather coming through. I'm going to start drawing because I'll connect a little bit easier as I sketch. Okay. Feels like a grandfather. Older gentleman. Still has some hair on top, but slightly balding. I'm getting a feeling, not North American, but across the big pond kind of a feeling. All right, European background.
I know I say this every week, Monique, but isn't it amazing the intelligence of spirit getting us to link across the Atlantic?
Absolutely. Never ceases to amaze me how that works. Okay.
Yeah. I've got him, Monique, I feel.
You got him? Okay.
Absolutely.
I see him sitting down in a chair. He's sitting down in a chair. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, I know you see him sitting in a chair, but it's making me feel that this gentleman did not stop. He was a hard-working gentleman. Also, very fun in terms of his outlook in life. I also feel There was a kind of maintenance feel to him, like a maintenance man. He would be an odd job man as well. I know he was grandfather, but he also took his father role quite responsibly. Family was everything for him. Although this gentleman used to love taking himself off on his own. I also know there was a love of, it sounds like country music, what I'm hearing, country and Western music.
This is the kind of man that would connect with anybody that he comes across.
Yeah.
A little gesture, a little joke. People that knew him thought very, had thought very highly of him, actually. Very kind gentleman I'm getting. Go ahead, Paul.
I'm going to say, I'm also aware that he would have smoked and smoked like a trooper.
Oh, yeah.
Bless his heart. And he was never going to give up smoking. It was one of the last pleasures he had in life.
Oh, yes, I can see that. Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about it. I do feel this gentleman, because of his activity and was always ongoing, I do feel he would have been quite slim later on in life as well.
Quite what, Paul? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Okay, I think he would have. I can't remember actually. It's just gone out of my head, and that happened.
Yeah.
In the spirit. I'm sorry.
No problem. Keep going.
I hope you guys are paying attention because clearly I'm not. And that's the thing, not to put your mind into the message. Okay.
Laurie says she can take a lot of this so far.
Oh, you know what we're going to ask, Laurie? If you understand this, can you come in, please? I keep seeing this pickup truck as well, with a buck, I think they call it, with a bit in the back you can put stuff in. And I keep seeing this, but I feel like it was either a really old banger, or it was a really old vehicle that he used. But I still don't feel there was some love for this vehicle. Also, no. Oh, okay.
And I honestly saw him.
Yeah, quite fit. Oh, thank you.
I saw him. I see. You're reading the.
Yeah, Carol's just let me know what I said. Thank you, Carol. It's your listening.
Thanks, Carol. Somebody's paying attention here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I suddenly got the information that even though he was, I did see him sitting, but in older years he was quite sprightly.
Yeah. Always on the go. Absolutely.
Always on the go. And I had an uncle like this. You know how men, when they get older, the legs get a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is not good.
Always on the go. And
Hi, Laurie. Oh, she's just dropped out. She's just dropped out. I think this might be for her. I'm not sure. If you're listening, Laurie, please can you come back in? So that was.
There's a bit of feedback there, so she might have something going in the background.
It could be, yeah. It might be that you might have to wear headphones, Laurie. I'm not sure. Okay, I kind of feel like I want to make the truck into put plants around it and put flowers around it. And okay, if you can come in, Laurie, that'd be brilliant.
I'm feeling a feeling of endearment towards the recipient of this reading.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just wonderful endearment, loving endearment.
Yeah, and I know this gentleman, I'm getting all the medical conditions tonight, would have been arthritic. Is she coming back? Oh, he was kicked out. I don't know why he was kicked out. That must have been a mistake. Can you? Here she comes. Is she coming back in? I'm not sure what's happening.
If you can't come back in, Laurie, you're welcome to type.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
We'll just read it, bring up the banners, no problem at all.
Shall I get them? Okay, brilliant.
I'm not getting a very tall man here.
Yeah.
Older guys, quite strong for his age. Oh my God, I had a great uncle like that.
See, as he blends with me, Monique, he gives me a great feeling of his personality. This is somebody that kind of pushed the boundaries a little bit. This is somebody that worked really hard. He's given me that. I wish Laurie can come back in. I think we've lost her.
And his body might have gone through a little wear and tear as a result,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Laurie. I'm sorry. I think we've lost you, Laurie. That's a shame. Because I do feel that. Okay. Don't think it's my. This time is very. Oh, he's very independent. Okay. Would you understand him not the sort of person that would he wouldn't kind of lie down even if he was ill. He wouldn't take it down. He wouldn't rest up. He would just keep going.
Here we go.
So,
Am I in?
hi, Laurie. You're in.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Again, you're the other side of the world, so it's great you've linked in from California.
And you did say that across the pond, correct?
I did, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yes, I can take
it. I think I did. Honestly, my memory's been proven to be rubbish.
I know, I couldn't remember. That's what I thought Monique had said. So sorry,
Yeah.
I had a hard time getting in.
Do you recognize the picture? But I feel this was his younger days.
The thing is his eyes look like that. They were very striking.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know on the picture. A lot of the description is correct. What you guys were saying, not sure about the truck. So
yeah, there's this red truck. It's like a pickup truck, but I feel like it's like a 19. As I look at it, like the old type with the brown sort of big wheel arches, but I feel like it's the more I felt into that, I felt like it's either been set up somewhere waiting to be renovated, or it should be used as part of a flower bed.
you know what? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this gentleman's come through for you before, hasn't he?
Yes, the smoker, like you said,
and that's one thing, because I keep seeing him in a hospital bed and with a cigarette in his mouth.
Yes, he even didn't have a cigarette in his fingers, and he's doing this. He died of emphysema.
Right. Okay. Would you understand the loss of weight towards the end then? Would you understand him getting slim?
He was always very slim, like you said. And he did lose weight at the end very badly.
Okay. I'm trying not to be too cliche about that, but I can see that. But I just keep seeing the same image. But I kind of also feel like you're not going to get me into a hospital over my dead body. Would you understand that philosophy?
Yes.
And it's like people go in there to die, man, and I'm not coming out. I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
That was that.
Yep.
And I do feel he didn't trust many people in terms of the doctors and that kind of stuff.
That's true.
And I felt like everyone was out to get me. Although it's not, but it was something that was kind of from an early age. You had that impression.
Yes.
The other thing, would you understand with him though, ingrained in him is hard work.
Oh, he was
He
did a lot of different things. When you said the thing about the handyman, he could do anything, and he did a lot of different things.
Yeah. The other thing he's making me aware of as well, I do actually feel he helped people of his generation that he knew. Would you understand that? Because I feel like he's helping people of his generation and people slightly older that had problems around the home, either maintenance or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's almost like, he was looking out for that. Would you understand why he's trying to show me like an old people's place? And I feel there's a connection there, and the way he's not taking me in there as he's living there. I feel like he helped somebody that was in this old, and I don't know what you call it in America, an old people's home.
Seniors
home?
home?
I know what you mean.
Seniors home. Thank you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He might be referencing my dad.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, it's just making me aware that he would go into there. I also felt he would have helped that person in the home, but he's just referencing that for some reason. But would have helped, and his idea as love is being practical. Wasn't always showing love, it was being practical with his love. Would you understand that?
Yes.
If he could fix something for you, that's his way of saying he loved you.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm doing the same thing for you. The other thing, I know there's somebody else trying to come through, and I think we could be here all night, but I want to give you his most magnificent sunflower. Okay.
Yes.
And
That's
I'll
funny.
leave
Yes,
that. That's quite symbolic.
That is significant. Yes.
Okay. Please take their love, Laurie. Thank you for coming in all the way from California. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just, psychic amnesia. So slow.
Mine's been
Thank
live
you,
on
Laurie.
air tonight. So,
Thank you.
my pleasure. Thank you ever so much. Oh, I should have said, sorry, Monique. I know she said about the eyes, but we are starting to run out of time, and we're going to get Micky back into the studio to choose. Oh, Micky's gone as well, I think. We've lost
okay.
Micky. We've had
Yeah.
technical failures. Never mind. Whose turn is it this week to pick a reading anyway, Monique?
Let's see. That would be you, I believe.
So it's my turn. So did you want to pick someone for
I will
a reading
pick somebody.
this week?
Yes.
Lovely.
Let's see. I'm looking through the scrolling here, all the text, and I will pick Zoe Toombs.
Congratulations, Zoe.
Congratulations, Zoe.
So you've got the booby prize of me. Sorry, I mean everyone loves your drawings, Monique, but
You got the luck of the draw, Zoe, and you're going to get a great reading from Paul.
Yeah,
No question.
absolutely. Contact me, Zoe, and I will book you in and go from there. Brilliant. Monique, as ever, it's been a fantastic evening.
It certainly has. Yeah.
And next week, we should talk about next week's guest quickly, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Next week's guest is... That's my impression of a drum roll, by the way. That was terrible. I used to play the drums, and even that's just bad. So let's talk about next week's guest. So we're also on an hour earlier next week, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Because this particular guest, she's also in California, and she kind of has to fit us in with her schedule, which, no problem with that. So did you want to introduce her? Say who it is?
No, you go ahead, Paul.
Okay, it's Hollister Rand. So for those super sleuths out there, do some investigating. She's on next week, so get your questions ready for her. It's going to be brilliant. So on next week of the one-off time of 7 p.m. GMT. What is that time? What is that?
That would be 11 o'clock PDT Pacific.
Okay.
11 o'clock in the morning, as opposed to noon.
And obviously an hour ahead if you're in Europe. So don't ask me if you're in Sydney. I think it's yeah, my head's gone. So yeah, Monique, it's been great as ever. And
I love doing this show. Just fabulous.
Me too.
Thank you everybody for coming.
Yeah. And obviously thank you, Micky. That was brilliant. And we'll see everyone again next week.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Bye, Paul.
I almost want to say
everybody.
bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.